Hi, we're starting a new science unit called Properties of Matter. And matter is anything that takes up space. So everything around you basically takes up space. So everything around you is made of matter. And so we're going to look at how you can tell different objects from one another because matter has properties. And that's the characteristics or how you can tell different things apart. Objects can have different sizes, colors, shapes, and they can feel different, they can smell different, they can look different. You just look at all these beautiful seashells in this photograph. They're all made up of matter, but they all have different characteristics or properties. Okay, in this activity, you're going to figure out what some of the different properties are that matter can have. It's basically how you describe different objects. So if you have done this already, you know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, you will do that today. We're going to talk about all these vocabulary words: matter, volume, mass, property, element. You should have gone over all of these in your vocabulary in Quizlet, so hopefully you already have a good idea of what those mean. So I'm going to go ahead and read through with you these pages. What is matter? Explore the area around you. Can you find things with different colors, sizes, and shapes? Things differ in the way they look, feel, sound, and smell. All the things around you are alike in one way. However, all are made up of matter. So take a second, just look around on your desk, look around the walls, look around the room, look at all the different things that are around you. Realize that they're all made up of matter and kind of notice some of the ways they're alike and some of the ways they're different. They might be the same size, the same color, the same shape, the same weight. So just notice as you go out throughout your day how things are alike and how they're different. Matter is anything that takes up space. You are matter. This book is matter. Or I should say this computer you're reading on is matter. Even the air you breathe is matter. All of these things take up space. So even things you cannot see like air take up space. What can you see, hear, and touch at the beach? Okay, look. There's the sand, the water, the towel, all different kinds of things. Volume. Volume describes how much space an object takes up. It tells how big or small an object is. The beach ball takes up more space than this bowling ball. The beach ball has more volume. So that's an important word to, important term to remember. Volume is the measure of how much space something takes up. It says this beach ball has more volume but less mass than a bowling ball. So volume is how much space, but mass is the measure of the amount of matter in something. So basically, mass is kind of like the weight, because the more matter that's in something, usually the heavier it's going to be. So mass, all objects have mass. Mass is a measure of the amount of matter in an object. So if you've ever picked up a beach ball and a bowling ball, you know that one of them has more mass, which means it has more matter. The matter that's inside a beach ball is just air. The matter that's inside a bowling ball is solid. An object with a large mass feels heavy. An object with a small mass feels light. This bowling ball feels heavier than this beach ball. This is because the bowling ball contains more matter. The bowling ball has more mass. Volume and mass are properties of matter. A property is a characteristic of something. The way an object looks, tastes, sounds, and feels are other properties that you can observe. So look at this chart. The properties are color, shape, feel, and taste. And we already talked about that. That's one way we can tell matter apart. And so color can be described in this way. Shape, you could say something's round or spiking. Feeling, the feel, you could say it's rough or smooth. And the taste, you could say it's sweet or sour. But if we're describing this pineapple, we could say it's brown, green, round, spiky, rough, and sweet. When I think of properties, I always think of the game I Spy. I think I spy with my little eye something brown and green. Okay, maybe they will have to, that would be a fun thing to play with your family today to kind of get you keyed in on properties. But you don't only have to use the visual properties of what it looks like, you could say what it sounds like, what it tastes like, all different kinds of things to figure those out. Okay, good job. All right, what are some properties of matter? The world is full of many kinds of matter. We use properties to tell them apart. An object might be hot or cold. It could feel smooth or rough or wet or dry. Here are some properties that help us describe and identify matter. Okay, sinking and floating. Some matter sinks in water. Some matter floats. For example, a rock sinks in water and an apple floats. A metal object usually sink. Metal objects usually sink, while wooden objects often float. The objects sink or float because of their mass and volume. Remember, mass is how much matter is in something. Objects with a lot of mass and a little volume tend to sink. Objects with little mass and a lot of volume tend to float. So let's think about an object with little mass, so that's little weight, the less mass, the less heavy it is, and a lot of volume, so it takes up a lot of space. If we go back to that beach ball had a lot of volume, but it had just a little mass. It didn't have a lot of weight. And we all know that beach balls float. Okay, it says an anchor sinks in the water. A life preserver floats in the water. You guys all know that. Magnetism. Magnets have a special property. Magnets pull on or attract certain metals such as iron. They do not attract wood, plastic, or water. Put a magnet near an object made of iron. What happens? You guys all know. The magnet pulls on the object and then the object sticks to the magnet. Okay, so that's another property of matter. Is it magnetic or is it not? Conducting heat. Some matter conducts heat, okay, and conducting means that it's easier to travel in, okay, so it makes things hotter. This means that some kinds of matter let heat move through them easily. For example, heat moves easily through metals such as iron and copper. This is why these metals make good cooking pots. Heat moves from the stove through the metal pot. The pot gets warm. Wood does not heat up quickly. This is why wood is good to use for pot handles and cooking spoons, because you don't want your cooking spoon to get hot very fast, otherwise you burn yourself. Okay, so a little text feature down here, it says a fact, only some metals are attracted to magnets. Okay, so you're going to do a quick lab here today where you're going to follow these directions, and actually there's a printout in the printable section, and you're going to go ahead and complete that with a partner, which could be a sibling or a parent. And what is matter made of? People once thought that all matter was made up of combinations of water, air, earth, and fire. We now know that all matter is made up of elements. Elements are the building blocks of matter. There are more than 100 different elements. They make up all the matter in the world. Some matter is made of mostly one element. An iron nail contains mostly the element iron. Aluminum foil contains mostly the element aluminum. Most of matter on Earth is made of more than one element. Water is made up of the elements hydrogen and oxygen. Sugar is made up of hydrogen, oxygen, and the third element called carbon. Elements join in different ways and in different amounts to form everything in our world. All right, so this text feature here is remember text features help us understand the text. And so that was a lot of new information, so it was really good that they put in some pictures so that we can see what they're talking about. A few elements are shown here. So silver is an element, and that's what this spoon is made of. Iron is made of nails. Gold is an element, aluminum, carbon, and neon. Neon is a gas that runs through signs. When you see signs lit up like this, there is an actual gas inside it that is reacting and lighting up. All right, so you guys have to do your quick lab, and you also have some workbook pages. And those workbook pages, you are going to need these pages that I just read. So you're going to want to open your science book and make sure that you have it open so you can answer the questions on page 171 and 172, because this is where those workbook pages will be found on all the pages we just read. All the answers will be found on these pages. So you will need to go into your book and do that. And if certain parts of this was confusing to you, you can just go to those parts in your book and reread them.